said, I gotta sit down, I gotta think. What had I done wrong? What was God punishing me for? What was this about? But anyway, listen, I sat down, I thought about it, I said, you know what? I just gotta go backwards to the last place I was to find out what I had done wrong. And the last place that I had been was to his uncle's house. Remember, I just said that. I was at his uncle's house. His uncle said, would you like to go and stay at my ex-wife's house and help her around the house? She's sick and she needs somebody to help her. So would you mind going to her house and, tidying up for her, cooking her meals, things of that nature. I went back over to the uncle's house. And I said, you know what? I used to call his uncles my uncle. I said, you know what, go ahead and give her a call and let me talk to her. And look now, when I got there, I made sure everything, but before I left the house, I was covered completely. Let me tell you what, face and stuff, like how the people wear the scarves over their face and over their head and have their whole body covered. That's how I was walking around. And thank goodness it was still chilly outside. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too warm where I looked, inconspicuous walking around like that. I had everything covered. Everything. You could still see a little bit of my face, like this part right here, but I had all this covered. I wrapped the scarf around like this and all this was covered. Had on this nice shirt. You couldn't see nothing. But unless you look right in my face, right? How about when I walk through the door, one of the uncles gonna be like, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? I was like, man, where the other uncle at? Where your brother? And so I just walked on through the house. I ain't explain nothing because I couldn't explain it. I didn't know what that stuff was. Anyway, I go to the back. I asked the uncle to call his ex-wife. And he does. And she and I get on the phone. We talk. I said, look, if you want me to come over, I said, I still will. I said, but listen, I don't have a truck. I don't have the funds to rent a truck or anything like that. She said, I don't either, son. I said, well, look here. I said, if I could get a ride to your house, and move my things, then I know it's God. Just like that. I said, because we ain't got no ride, right? You don't know nobody. I don't know nobody. So if God make a way for it to happen, if it happened, then we know it was God. So let's see what happened. I said, and I'll come and I'll help you. I'll stay with you and all that. She said, all right, like that. So I said, I'll let you know something by, like, next week. I'm going to see what I can do, see if somebody, can help me out with this, and I'll let you know. She said, all right, well, thank you, Sean. I said, no problem, thank you. You know what I'm saying? And then I got off the phone with her, and I left. Now, I didn't stay very long, because, I didn't want nobody to look at me. They was everywhere. I'm not even exaggerating. Bumps. Ooh, ooh. So listen. So that night I go to sleep. And before I go to sleep, I really think about people that might be able to help move, and I prayed over it. I said, well, God, if that's you, and you really want me to help her, go over there and be with her and assist her, then I will. And I know you'll make a way for me. So I went on to sleep. So the next day I get up, next morning I wake on up, and I look in the mirror, and the bumps are kind of disappearing. They haven't completely disappeared, but they've kind of disappeared. I'm looking in the mirror like, what?